You know, sometimes a report, article, or something will kind of pop up on your radar screen, and you go into it and read it, and you just kind of step back and scratch your head, and you're like, what is wrong with our world? I mean, that's why I felt this week. A few days ago, the Ministry of Strategic Affairs in Israel publishes this report called Terrorists in Suits, and it's really a brilliant report, but it shows over 100 connections between people who were active or are active today in terrorist organizations, particularly the Hamas and the PFLP, which is the Popular Front for Liberation of Palestine, which are designated terrorist organizations by the United States and the European Union, right? So you have people who are literally convicted of acts of terror. There's a woman here who was involved in hijacking several airplanes. You know, she's convicted. She sits in an Israeli prison. She gets out of prison, and she then either founds or, you know, is appointed to lead a so-called human rights organization. So she whitewashes her terrorist background. A human rights organization that's, you know, fighting for the human rights of Palestinians by calling for a boycott of Israel. And they're part of this big campaign called BDS, which stands for Boycott, Divest, Sanction. And BDS doesn't really care about Palestinians because, you know, there's 100,000 Palestinians employed in Israeli jobs in Israel, Judea, and Samaria. And each of those salaries on average puts food on the table for 10 people because of kind of the traditional Palestinian intergenerational cohabitation in their homes. So in simple numbers, 1 million out of about 1.5 million Palestinians in the West Bank, their whole livelihood depends on these Jewish-owned Israeli companies, which BDS is trying to boycott. It's trying to harm the most beautiful thing within this region, which is the peaceful coexistence through business that, you know, takes place between Israelis and Palestinians. But you're not surprised because these people are literally terrorists. I mean, you really need to read this report. Go into the link underneath this video and read the full page report if you can stomach it. I mean, this is an 80-page report, but here, literally, I mean, these people are senior members of terror groups. Here's Rasmea Odeh. Okay, she murdered 2 students in a terrorist bombing in Jerusalem. Convicted terrorist, and she's literally hosted as a VIP guest at BDS events. You know, she was at a university in San Diego, and then at Northeastern University, which I think is even Ivy League, a school in Chicago. But like, who's vetting these people? Really, you're really inviting terrorists to come and speak on university campuses about human rights? That's like taking somebody who's a convicted pedophile, okay, who's sat several years in prison for being a pedophile, and after they get out, inviting them to give a lecture on child psychology in an elementary school. It's the same thing. It's just completely crazy. So, you know, just when you thought the world couldn't be more absurd, you know, they published this report, and it's just indisputable facts. Please go and look at it. And you should know, if you think, you know, you say, okay, I really care about human rights, and therefore we're going to boycott Israel. Look, to support Israel, you shouldn't be anti-Palestinian. And to support the Palestinians, you shouldn't be anti-Israeli. Why should we boycott either party? Right? We should be for improving the welfare of both peoples on both sides of the conflict. If we're really convicted that every person is created in the image of God. But more than that, I mean, if you're supporting BDS, you're supporting terrorists and terror organizations. And you should know that. And your friends should know that. Please go out and check out this report, and then share it with your friends. This is really, really important information to share, friends. You know, and I'll just say that at Arise, you know, we always say, make jobs, not war. I mean, let's create more economic collaboration between the parties, and not be supporting these crazy terrorists in suits that you know, they think if they put on a suit and tie and some kind of business card that's for an organization that advances human rights, they'll somehow disguise their true intention, which is really just to destroy Israel and destroy the Palestinians. So anyway, check out the report. Thanks for tracking with us. Let's be in touch.